Hey, everybody. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new here. And thank you for joining me today using the wisdom of the oracle to get our topic for today. If you're new here, this is just kind of how I get our topic for the day, a little bit of inspiration. And I feel like by using the cards, I kind of get to feel the collective and figure out what might be best for everyone to hear right now. So we have Thinker, which is perfect because we were talking about how on Monday, on the 7th of April, Mercury went direct. Mercury's been in retrograde, and that can mess with our ability to think clearly, have clarity, to really even comprehend communication or communicate clearly to others, can really hinder that whole thinking clarity thing. And especially there's been other influences from some of the outer planets that are making it even more muddled than usual, which I don't know about y'all, but I could use a lot less muddling right now. But the thinker is, we talked about the full moon coming up this Saturday on the 12th, and how we're in a place right now where we're really being asked to get clarity on how we want to move forward. And one of the things I think that is important when we start talking about thinking is overthinking and where our mind is actually at when we're thinking. Are we in the past? Because generally, um, if we're experiencing feelings of regret or uh, sadness, grief, loss, things of that nature, our thoughts are in the past and we're looking at things that have already happened. If we're experiencing anxiety, many times that's an indication, fear, anxiety, that our thoughts have slipped off into the future. We're over there. We're being stressed about over there, which hasn't happened yet. And again, it's like worrying about how to cross a bridge that we may never get to. And the overthinking can lead us easily into past thinking, future thinking, and take us away from the present moment. Where when we are trying to gain clarity, that's where we need to be, is in the present moment. And staying present is really something that I have found very challenging simply because while I'm going about my day, and let me know if this resonates with you, I'll start thinking about what I need to do when I get home, and this needs to be done, and I got to handle this, and I can't forget that next week this needs to be done. Okay, I can exhaust myself mentally, even though in that present moment, none of those things, one, I can't do them right then. They're not ready to be done yet, or I'm not in a position to do them, but I have mentally exhausted myself thinking about needing to do them. And that's again where the future thinking can create that anxiety, or you get that feeling of urgency and rush and not having enough time. And, we start to give ourselves a panic attack when none of that is relevant in this moment. Or you start thinking about the things you'd like to create, the new things you'd like to introduce into your life. Like, say you want to start a new nutrition plan, like a new diet plan, And I try to avoid the word diet because it's like when we're talking about diet and nutrition, to me, it's a lifestyle change. It's not like I'm going to go on a diet. It's like I'm going to change the way I interact with food as a change in my lifestyle, as a permanent lifestyle alteration. So I just want to clarify that because I know a lot of times when you say the word diet, you think of like, well, I'm going to go on a diet for a few weeks and lose a few pounds. And I'm talking about like completely overhauling how we view our food. And you're really excited about it and you're like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And all of a sudden, your mind slips back to the last time you tried. How many times do we defeat ourselves before we even get started because our thinking slips into the past? I tried that in the past and it didn't work. Or, I'd love to be in a relationship, but that last one, oh my gosh, I can't do that again. And we have to look at When we do that, we actually will sabotage ourselves before we start based on shit that happened beforehand that we can't change. And what we tend to forget when we get in that past mindset, past thinking, and we're in the past tense, that grew us. That was a lesson we learned from. Instead of feeling sadness and regret and loss and everything else, look at, when you start to sabotage yourself with those thoughts, the overthinking and getting in the past thinking and not being in the present, and what having come through these experiences, what you learned, what you gained from them, because everything like that is just a growth experience. Okay, remind yourself, hey, you know what? That version of me was not ready for that, but going through that experience taught me A, B, and C that I need to watch out for when I do it this time. Because every time we have the guts to try again, we're coming at it with more experience. We're coming at it as different people, different versions of ourselves. We've leveled up through our past experiences. Avoid the overthinking, and this is coming from a chronic overthinker. I'm a Gemini rising and a Scorpio sun. And if you know anything about astrology, Gemini is the thinker and Scorpio is the doomsday overanalyzer. And the two together are just not pretty. So I am saying this from a point of someone who can overthink nothing and like doomcast the happiest thing in the world if I let myself. And that's the key thing, is not letting ourselves, not allowing our thoughts to take off without any kind of supervision. Because if we do that, our thoughts, our brain will beat us to death, and we will be miserable about things that might happen, things that have happened, things that could happen. It's insanity in your brain. And that's actually a large part of why I wrote the book, because if I am able to get my thoughts under control, y'all, I believe in you. Okay? I honestly would never have thought that I could actually maintain control of my brain. And I started late enough in life that I had already really established neural pathways that were just chaotic and unruly, bratty little toddlers that needed to be disciplined. So when we're thinking, when we're trying to gain this clarity, we really need to look at, okay, who am I in this present moment? Because yes, in the past, these have been challenges for me, but they taught me what I need to have right now to try again, or to step out of my comfort zone, because I know from past experience that yes, it's challenging. And these are the things that I've faced. If there are certain things that are going to either slow you down or cause you to overthink or talk yourself out of it, self sabotage, overstudy. I'm an overstudier. I just need more information. No, more action. We typically need more action. And like the bridge that we may never come to, we can get that information in that moment when it pops up that we need it, instead of trying to get all the information before we take action. Because even if we have all the information, I don't know about you, but I'm going to forget it by the time I get there, because, we don't need to know steps 7, 8, and 9 until we've taken steps 1, 2, and 3. We're way over here when in the present moment we're here. Focus on that. What do I need to do right now? Right now. And if you're not sure, find the information. Okay, so in order to take this step, I need to have this professional license, or I need this information on the diet that I want to follow. the cooking methods, the ingredients. I need to get some recipes. Um, or, well, I want to work out, but I'm not sure how to start. Hey, tell you what, you can find that information so easily, and there are so many resources available. All you have to know is how to start. And once you get started, then you can worry about, well, what do I do next? And I know for me, I have spent way too much time trying to learn about something, mainly because I'm not willing to acknowledge to myself that I'm scared. I'm scared to take the first step, so I'm going to sit back here and study the hell out of it and tell myself I need more information. Because when we're thinking, our brain will do some dumb shit trying to protect us, but actually just keeping us stagnant. So, as you're gaining clarity, as you're reviewing your situation, anything that you want to begin, create, start new, even if it's, it doesn't have to be something big. We can do this over nothing. We can overthink nothing. Uh, and all that does is slow our progress and leave us really mentally drained over things that, if it's in the past, we can't change it. All we can do is look at it and ask ourselves, what did I learn from that? How did that change me? How am I different now than I was then? And how would that change the way I view trying this thing again, or stepping out of my comfort zone, or the fears that I'm feeling right now about doing this? Are they something that I've already covered in the past and I don't need to worry about now? That's what the past is for, reassurance to show us how much we've grown, and that the fears that we had about the things that happened then are no longer valid because we're not that version of us anymore. Or if we're over here somewhere, worried about the bridge that we can't see, that we may not even go down that road, and we're feeling anxious and fearful about that, well, you know what? How about I worry about how to get across that bridge if I end up going down that road, which I don't know I'm going to yet. So today I'll focus on the road in front of me. And again, that staying present. When we start to get all over the place in our mind, get in your body. We've talked about multiple ways to do that. One of the easiest ways to do that is just to do things that your physical body does. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the clothes on your skin. Touch things. Touch things and feel them. Use your five senses. Taste something, smell something, look around you and really look at the colors, the objects. Take stock of your present environment and bring yourself back there. We've talked about pulling your energy into you, just envisioning pulling all of your energy right into your belly button, like it's sucking it back in. Ground yourself in that present moment. That'll help calm your mind. If you can, just do some deep breathing as you're really taking in your surroundings. If we get to where we're shallow breathing, that will cause anxiety, even if there's nothing to be anxious about. So make sure that when you're breathing, especially if you're starting to feel overwhelmed, catch yourself, take some deep, intentional breaths, use your full lung capacity, breathe up that belly, suck it right into your belly, breathe deep, and really just calm yourself down. Grab your mind. Here, come here. We actually have to talk to ourselves in that way when our thoughts are getting out of control. We have to take back that control, just like you would disciplining a dog or a child, because our brain is not necessarily always acting on our behalf or in a way that benefits us when we're feeling emotions or, you know, struggling with the energies around us and even trying to determine what thoughts are our own and what thoughts we're just picking up from the environment around us. And if you have the opportunity, and I say this a lot because truly, if we can pull away from a situation when we're starting to feel that overwhelm and just get back in your energy, do the grounding, do the breathing, clear your mind, identify, okay, like now that I'm here taking a moment, am I feeling those emotions? Am I feeling those thoughts? Okay, those are not my thoughts and emotions, so I need to not respond to those. When I go back into the environment, I know that those are not mine. I need not acknowledge or spend any of my energy on them. Just keep them out of my field. Don't worry about where they're coming from because it's over there somewhere. It's not me. It's not something I need to own or address. And stay in that present moment. And I challenge you to actually keep track of how often your thoughts wander off to the past, to the future. How many times do you find yourself doom casting? When we find out the shenanigans that our brain is up to when we're not really paying attention, it's amazing that we're not all a little more psychotic. Um, so get to know your brain, get to a point where you can understand what is yours and what is not yours. And personally, In the Now by Eckhart Tolle, I love that book. It's great for understanding how we pick up other thoughts and emotions and how we can understand that and stay in the present moment. And that was something that was very helpful for me as I was beginning this journey and trying to understand what was going on in my head. So, absolutely, get your clarity, be the thinker, but understand how you think. Because until we know how our brains work and how to interpret what we're feeling and sensing and hearing in our minds, clarity is hard to come by. So, today I wish you well as you get to know your brain better and know that you absolutely have the power and the ability to get it under control and to identify what doesn't belong to you that's going on up there, and that will bring you so much more peace. Try the grounding. When you start to wander off from yourself up here, try the grounding using your five senses, doing the breathing, getting away from, if you're in a place with a lot of energies, try to separate for a few and feel your own energy. And the more familiar you get with that, the easier it will be, and you won't have to isolate. You'll be able to tell, like, that's not mine, and identify those things before it becomes an issue. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that helps, and I will talk to you soon.